Okay, I have dissected many structures here. What you can identify here is the facial artery, okay, with the vein. So facial vein artery runs together. You can identify the artery with its tortuous course. You can identify this is the masseter muscle. So anterior border of masseter, you can identify these two structures. Now here you can see a duct. This is the parotid gland. Part of the parotid gland I have retained. This is the parotid duct which pierces the buccinator muscle. So it pierces the buccinator muscle. So all these are fibers of buccinator. So this is parotid duct. So masseter, I'm going to retract. Okay, this is the masseter. So which is attached to the ramus of the mandible on the outer aspect. So once I remove this masseter and cut a part of the mandible, retaining the TM joint here, and these are the fibers of temporalis. So temporalis runs through the infratemporal fossa and it is attached to the coronoid process here. So that anterior border it is attached and also to the medial side it is attached. So that I had to remove because I wanted to show the interior or inside of the infratemporal fossa. So here you can identify two important structures, that is one is maxillary artery. So maxillary artery has got three parts. It has got a mandibular part and pterygoid part and pterygopalatine part. So here you can see the first and the second part of that you can identify. It is been tied with a thread here. So this is maxillary artery. So it runs over the lateral pterygoid muscle between the two heads. So whichever muscle you can find below it is the lateral pterygoid, that is lower head on the lateral aspect you can see. So below that will be the medial pterygoid. So this muscle what you can see here is the which is running downwards. Okay, this is the medial pterygoid, and you can identify two important structures. One is the ligament. Okay, this is spinomandibular ligament. And next to that you can see from the common stem two structures, two nerves you can identify, which are the divisions of posterior division of mandibular nerve gives three branches: auriculotemporal nerve, lingual and inferior alveolar. You can see two branches here coming from the common stem. The one which is in front is the lingual, the one which is behind is the inferior alveolar. Okay, two you can identify here. I had to separate them because they are from the common stem. The inferior alveolar is going through the mandibular foramen and it is supplying the lower jaw. Okay, so here you can identify some fibers of temporalis muscle covered with the temporal fascia, and here is the superficial temporal vessels, temporal fascia, temporalis muscle. So all this was present within the parotid gland. So now all this was within the parotid gland. So parotid gland, since it is removed, you can also see the cut end of the artery. And here you can see the cut part of the mandible to see the structures that are secured inside. So here you can see the mandibular nerve divisions and spinomandibular ligament and maxillary artery. And I can cover this. This is temporalis tendon which is attached to the coronoid process. So this is the zygomatic arch. So it is running behind the zygomatic arch and coming out here to get attached onto the coronoid process. So if I put this back, you can see masseter is also attached to the zygomatic arch here, and this is your submandibular gland, and you can see the facial artery and the vein. So I hope this makes sense. This is the parotid gland with the duct.